Hi, so now we're on page 3 of the Unit 6 Day 7 notes. 9 and 10 have the same directions from the previous two problems, so we're using essentially sine and cosine to figure out the unknown side. Just as a friendly reminder, we're using SOHCAHTOA. So we're going to be using sine and cosine for this one. Again, we want to look to see which side gives us the value that we want. For this one, 51 degrees, if I do sine or cosine, it doesn't matter because one of them will have the variable and then the hypotenuse is the other given. So I can actually use sine of 51 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And I can also use cosine of 51 degrees is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And either one, and I can do these both without actually finding the other variable first. With both scenarios, though, I need to multiply 32 on both sides to cancel out. Let's cancel out those 32s. So I get 32 times sine of 51 degrees is equal to t. So then that gives me t is approximately equal to 24.9. And then cosine of 51 degrees, I'm going to double check that. My writing is a little bit 32 times sine of 51 degrees. Just double checking that. Okay, good. One of the numbers looked a little bit off. And then with this one, also multiply 32 on both sides. So times 32, 32 cancels there. So this is 32 times cosine of 51 degrees. Equals u. So 32 times cosine of 51 degrees, and that gives me u is approximately equal to 20.1. So those are those two variables. With 10, going back to which one has the best variable, only one variable first. So looking at 39 degrees, looks like this is adjacent. If you're struggling with these type of problems, what you want to do is go through and mark relationship to the angle that's given. You can mark adjacent, opposite, and hypotenuse if it just gives one angle. So see how this one is just this one angle, 39 degrees. So relation to this is adjacent. Opposite is not, is across from it. And then hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. Knowing that, I want to use the one that has adjacent in it. Adjacent, the one that has that is cosine for this problem. So I'm going to use cosine first. So cosine of 39 degrees is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So 44, over g, multiplied by g on both sides. So the g's cancel here. So I have g times cosine of 39 degrees is equal to 44. And now I can divide by cosine of 39 degrees on both sides. And I get g is equal to 44 divided by cosine of 39 degrees. Plugging that in my calculator and rounding, I get g is approximately equal to 56.6. Now I'm going to do similar with sine. So sine of 39 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. But we know the hypotenuse is, about to write that in the wrong spot. Caught myself. H over 56.6. Multiply 56.6 on both sides. I get 56.6 times sine of 39 degrees is equal to H. So H is approximately equal to 35.6. Should verify these in your calculator to make sure you're doing them correctly as you're plugging them in, just to make sure you get the right response. Example D, find the unknown side length and then find sine of A and cosine of A. Ready to enter as a fraction in simplest form and as a decimal, and then round to 4 decimal places if necessary. So to find the unknown side length, we can use the Pythagorean theorem because we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if I do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, if I do that part first, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So A, I always use if it gives me a triangle ABC like this, I like C being the right angle because then I can just use the matchup to this. Lowercase a is going to be across from uppercase a. So this is 36, so 36 squared. B is what I'm trying to find out. And then C is the hypotenuse. 36 squared is going to be 1,296. Don't know what B squared is. And 85 squared is going to be 7,225. Minus 1,296 from both sides. And I'm left with B squared equals 5,929. Square root both sides, and you get B is equal to 77. So that's this side length right there. So I found this side length. Now we need to find sine of A and cosine of A. So sine of A is equal to, remember sine, so opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of A is going to be 36 over 85. Just looking at these, I can tell that they don't reduce. You can verify by plugging into your calculator and reducing using the fraction and decimal key if you have it, and then converting back. You can also check a bunch of numbers, find their prime factorization, but this is approximately equal to 0.4235. So that's sine of A, and then cosine of A. Remember, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's going to be 77 over 85. That also does not reduce. Dividing that out gives us 0.9059. So, friendly reminder, so, and then ka, and then toa. So opposite over hypotenuse for sine, adjacent over hypotenuse for cosine. Doing number 12, it looks a little bit tricky. It's all right. Still the same process to set up. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A in this case is going to be 2 square root of 7. I'm going to square that. B is 6, so 6 squared. And c we don't know, so we're going to leave that at c squared. 2, remember 2 square root of 7 squared. If we square these, we square 2 and we square the square root of 7. Square root of 7 is 7. Square root of 2, or sorry, square of 2 is 4. So 4 times 7 is 28. 6 squared is 36. That's equal to c squared. 28 plus 36 is 64. 64 equals c squared. If I take the square root of both of these, I get c equals 8. So this is the length of the hypotenuse. Now if I want to find sine of A, remember that's opposite. Sine of A, opposite. Since we're just using A, I can go ahead and mark opposite, adjacent, and then hypotenuse. You can only do that if you're using one of the numbers, or points. If you're using another one of the points and finding the ratio, then you'd have to erase and change. So be careful doing that. But sine of A, opposite, so 2 square root of 7 over hypotenuse is 8. These simplify, the 2 and the 8 simplify, so both of those, 2 goes into both of those evenly, so I get square root of 7 over 4. Plugging that in my calculator, I get 0.6614. So sine of A is approximately equal to that decimal. If I do cosine of A, cosine is adjacent, 6 over 8. That reduces down to 3/4. And 3/4 is exactly 0.75. You have enough to work on the homework now. Best of luck, and I hope you are doing well. Have a great day.